Well, I'm going to say some of my future plans on, with the motorcycle and how to spread the word on, Southern heritage, if you want to call it that. But I don't like using that word, Southern heritage, exactly. I like using like Southern honor or Confederate honor. But what I'm going to put on, I was just thinking, was just because I know they said there was possibly a problem with some. Depends on what state you're in, because it's very, I know it's very territorial. Like if you put a rocker that says your state, Georgia, Florida, whatever the hell it is, New Jersey, yeah, it gets territorial. I don't understand why that is, because if your club is not competing financially in any entrepreneurial endeavors that the other club is, I mean, what's the problem, Because there could be people without motorcycles that are financially competing in your entrepreneurial endeavors, you see. But I don't know. I personally don't want to give any more job justification for law enforcement. That's one thing. It's like, and it's really what it is. I mean, if there's any kind, you want to avoid conflict at all cost, and not try to start any kind of problem. But what I was thinking of doing for a patch is just put the forest flag on the back of the thing, the jacket, and with a message: the Gray fought for independence from a corrupt system. What the hell? And just have that on there. Maybe on the rockers: the Gray fought for independence. The Gray fought for the independence from a corrupt system, and that would actually get the message across if somebody reads that on your back, because if they see, a flag, somebody's going to either like it or hate it. You're not changing their mind. You have to actually put a statement there, and I understand the concept. I'm a little lukewarm on this. The SCV, mechanized cavalry thing, whatever you call it, because I know they say, I know the motorcycles, like, came from the horse, basically, right? I know why I think of it that way. It's the iron horse, yeah, I know, but, and it's true. But, even if you have a patch and it says, SCV, Sons Confederate Veterans, mechanized cavalry, whatever, it doesn't tell people what the deal is exactly, unless people have preformed opinions on it. It's not going to change their mind. Actually, that should be on all the monuments too. Like Gray Lives Matter. Gray Lives Matter, right? GLM. But or how about but basically, with the boys in gray fought for, independence from a corrupt system. I mean, that's, you don't even have to get into taxation and limited government and putting the brakes on, spending and, states' rights and all this type of stuff, and that the states have more power to impeach magistrates that are coming from the federal government into your state. I mean, basically they fought for independence from a corrupt system. That's really what it was about. Then they got invaded. Because they were paying most of the taxes. We need these people to pay us. Here's the money. Where are we going to get that subsidy money? Where's that revenue money coming from? So anyway, and I can tell you honestly, with bikes, there's a lot of, I got out of riding motorcycles. I used to ride. Well, you know what it is? I was like an adrenaline junkie. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Adrenaline, like in other words, the rush, the runner's high. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't have long hair, obviously. I don't have any tattoos or nothing. I don't have any piercings. So, it's like, I don't really, that's like the biker culture, right? So, I actually got into, like I said before in the other video, I got into motorcycles from bicycling, and I got into bicycling from running. And it was kind of like an athletic thing. I was a lot slimmer and stuff, and I used to be actually, if I get into that endurance stuff, man, I go shrink like nothing. I get like pretty skinny almost. But I got into motorcycles from the bicycle, and actually anything I got on my motorcycle is something practical. Like I know I have like the neoprene. You know, actually I got that from the bicycle. It's like a mask, you could breathe through it, and it covers your neck down here. Boy, that's great if it's raining out. It's kind of cool, even if it's only like 60 degrees and it's raining out. If you're going fast enough, it's cold. And I got that from the bicycle. A lot of stuff I got from the bicycle I carried over. I actually keep a chain with me, but I also keep a real heavy-duty cable, which is real quick. That, you know, I know you can cut it real fast, but you know sometimes they do grab and run on bikes, and I'm always scared to leave a bike in a parking lot where I can't see it. That's one thing. That's another reason I don't ride as much. Depends on where you ride to, but they can. There's people go around in trucks. They just look for bikes and they grab them, cameras or not. They just go and they're gone. And you know, you say, "Oh, my bike! Nobody would steal my bike," you know, because the paint job on it isn't so good, and it's an '89 Sportster. Actually, you wouldn't know it from the outside, but the engine's worth probably more than a bike because of what's in it. You know, it's got the S&S bottom end and all that garbage. But you know, the thing is, that's one thing that kind of bugs me. You know, having a bike out of your sight. I don't like that. That bugs the crap out of me. What I think I'm going to use the bike for is to go to the pistol range, the public one. And I've done that before because you can put the pistol in the saddlebag. And I'm going to be building a 1911 9mm Commando. You know, the one that's not the full size, but not the officer one. The one that's in between for like, I'll be using it as my concealed carry gun, you know. And I want to, you know, make sure everything on it works good and I'm proficient with it. So that'll be a reason to go take the bike out and go to the range, which is, you know, so many miles away, and going through the countryside, good ride. And, you know, I've actually done stuff where on a bike where I put loads of stuff on it and carried stuff you wouldn't think you could carry on a bike. I was more into it back then. I kind of got out of it because, you know, two different reasons. Well, maybe one was because people I knew that got into the bike, they got all of a sudden got tattoos, piercings, and they got all these patches, and, you know, I don't know, they start talking different. Hey, you're wrenching on your bike. Wrenching? Yeah, I'm working on it. Wrenching on my bike. Yeah, whatever. God, it's like, you know, wrenching. I'm wrenching on it. Yeah, ratchet wrenching. Well, whatever, you know. I mean, I never adopted any of that stuff. I get very bored at bars. The whole thing is like, you know, if I'm going on a ride, it's usually the specific place it's for something, you know, something real, something going on and for a purpose. And, you know, one of the problems is I always find is don't like leaving that thing out of my sight. That bugs me, you know. That bugs me. That's another reason. That is another big reason. You know, I don't ride as much too. I don't like leaving that thing out of my sight. Because as much as some people might think that bike is a piece of crap, it's like my next of kin. You want to? That's why I try to avoid trouble, because I would probably get extremely. I know I would. Yep. That's why I don't want to get in any kind of arguments with anybody about, you know, if you're wearing some shit on your back or whatever the hell it is, too, because I don't want to even get to step one. But whatever. And like I said, you know, that just gives job security to, you know, people in blue uniforms. And I'm like, you know, I'm not totally against it. I'm really anti-government, more or less, but, you know, people. And, you know, this is another issue, too, I want to talk about. You know, I'm talking about, you know, I'm going to advertise a little more on the back. I'm thinking about doing this. So I'm going to set this up. I got to think about it. I got to make sure I do it right. How to phrase it, you know. The gray fought for independence from a corrupt system. I don't know, something like that, with the forest flag. That would be the patch. You know? it says the message, doesn't offend any biker clubs, and it's also a message that they would understand, because anybody doesn't like the system because they know it's corrupt, and it work. You know what I mean? It's along the same lines. And I'm not trying to, I'm not going in any kind of endeavors to compete with any kind of financial entrepreneurship that any other clubs are in. That's really what they ought to be worrying about, whether what the hell's on your back, you know what I mean? But, what having that on my back would be fine. But it would display a message rather than just a flag. Because the flag, people aren't going to understand. You got to put some words with it, right? I'm thinking that's the best thing I could think of. But I saw a lot of, what bugging me right now is, I'm also a member of Save Southern Heritage in Florida, right? And, you're supposed to call these people, and I don't always call them up, call politicians up, say, hey, what are you taking this monument down, and what are you doing this to the flag, and blah, blah, blah. What bugs me is these politicians they're like, what, if the money blows the wind on the weather vane a certain way, they all just go that way. They don't care, man. They don't care about nothing. I mean, if they were gonna, if the money said put purple Barney purple dinosaur monuments up or something like that, and I don't know, they'd all these politicians be doing that. Hey, you gotta change it to purple Barney dinosaur monuments. That's what they'd be doing. That's why I don't respect anybody in the government. They really they're weasels, man. They're bad news. They're bad news, man. I mean, it's like, what do you got no choice when you vote for these people. They're all weasels, man. They all are. I don't know what's going to happen here long term, because I think, in the United States that things have gotten so bad whereby the inner core of honor, integrity, virtue, and all that type of stuff, standing up for what's right, like in the Confederacy, there's people that were hung because they wouldn't, sell out and make, sign a paper that was a lie to get somebody else in trouble. I mean, back in the day, even the crooks were more, even, I don't want to compare the Confederacy to the crooks, but, like even back in the day when you had, the supposed bad guys in the 30s, they wouldn't rat each other out the way this stuff is today. So it's like, hey, throw some money at them, it's okay, no problem. I don't know. That's why everything's going goodbye. It's like a cancer throughout society altogether. And, I'll probably get, I'll see about, I'm kind of lukewarm on this SEV-MC thing, but I don't know, it might be okay. But, I realize, what they warned about is you don't wear the patch unless you're in a group. And, you can wear the flag, stainless banner, that's fine, which makes sense. But I was thinking about doing a forest flag with, a little saying on it, what the boys in gray fought for. And I'll go out there right now and I'll start my bike up so you can see what the hell it sounds like. I mean, it runs good. Nothing wrong with that damn thing. I don't think there is. I ain't switching that bike though, man. It's like, first off, it's like when I get on that bike, even though if I ain't been on it a million years, it's like I remember it. I feel like I'm all locked in it. And it's, in 1989 it was high tech. It ain't high tech anymore. I thought it was pretty bad. It had a freaking electronic ignition. I actually keep points in that saddlebags. I keep the Chevy 6-cylinder points in there. The electronic ignition never broke. Actually, wait a minute. One time it's not a rotor. It's like a pickup thing or something. Not the pickup, but well, I guess it's a rotor. The thing that spins around. That broke. It broke right where it was bolted in. I couldn't believe that. But fortunately, it was backfiring. I made it back. But with a Sportster, if something like that happens, or say you get some crap jammed up in your fuel line or something stupid, right? Or just say your ignition coil takes a crap. With a Sportster, at least you could push the damn thing 10 miles. I mean, it doesn't break down, but well, you know, normally, but it can break down someday. And if you got a problem, at least you could push it. And you got a big stressor and it weighs 800 pounds, 1,000 pounds. Man, you ain't pushing that damn thing up no hills. You can't even get it backwards, crying out loud, unless you got reverse gear or something. God. And the other thing is, try bump starting that damn thing. I mean, I could barely bump start my Sportster. Well, I used to be able to bump start it when it was an 883. But when it put the 1220 over in it, it was like, I could probably, you know what? You know, one thing probably they have them on a chainsaws. They're called, what do you call that? Compression release valve. They got those. They could put those on a Harley head. So you press that little button in, and just like on a chainsaw, they got that compression release valve. As soon as it fires up, it's like on a lower compression while it's cranking over, and as soon as it fires, it closes the valve and it's at full compression. But if you're bump starting it, Harley, because there's no way you could put a kickstart on an 89 Sportster. You could do one at the 91 or 90 whatever and up, but not that year I got. It's like an 86 to 90. You know, the 4-speed chain driven one. Nah, no way. But I don't really care about that too much. But if you could bump start it with, you know, the compression release valve. And that might be a cool thing. If I ever had the heads off it or something like that, I'd probably install that crap. Because, you know, especially if your battery's crapping out or something, all of a sudden, you know what happens with batteries. You just, you know, it's working great one day, and then some days, well, you know what I do is I get the Odyssey batteries. I'm going off, I'm talking too much here. I get the Odyssey batteries, the ones that are totally sealed. Those things are very, very, very good. The ones I get in Walmart, I used to get sometimes, because they were cheap. They lasted like 3-4 months. I never got 6 months out of one of those things. The Odyssey battery's been in there like for years. Anyway, over to that. Well, bike started up. Yeah, let's say, like, you notice here I got a voltmeter. That is very, very handy because my stator on this thing is actually shaved down just a little bit because they put it in a clutch basket, like a basket that goes. See, the older ones, well, this is really older, I guess now, 89, the 4-speeds with the chain drive. They had the stator in the clutch assembly. Now you can get one that has like it's stainless steel, and the weights of the stator will not come apart because it's all there's like a stainless steel cover holding them in. With this one, they welded the starter ring gear to the stator. It's actually Japanese, that part. And to make sure that, because it's actually a press fit, interference fit. And then, this was back before they had that stainless steel jobber. They shaved down the weights just a little bit, put them in a basket. So it puts out just a little less volts. So sometimes I don't actually use my headlight all the time in the daytime. But that gives me an indication of how much I'm charging, which is good to go. It's good having a clock up there too, because it's hard to look at your wristwatch. One other thing too, on this bike, the key is so worn out, you can have it on and you can pull it out, right? It's kind of crazy. And if you got a big wad of keys on there, it could fall off. So what I got here is this, like you can actually hook it on there. See, through the choke. It ain't coming off. It's got a little thing like this. Then I was thinking, you know, I'll put the patch on the front of the jacket. I'll do that. You know, the Sons of Confederacy patch. I also got up here in the front. I got to do is make. Ow! It's fucking hot pipe there. I got to make a piece of pressure treated board to make it slide in here and out a lot easier. And I also got the Confederate flag up here on the front. So, and you know, the bike will clean up really good. It's doesn't have the best paint on it or anything like that, but it's got paint. What I do is I use that awesome cleaner and some little dish detergent in my parts cleaning brush. Then, you know, you can go over it with some furniture polish, but don't furniture polish the gas tank and the seat. You know, just maybe the chrome and shit. But yeah, it's a good bike. Nothing wrong with it. It's got the S&S bottom end, balanced for high RPM, 1200, 1220 over pistons. It's an 883, but it's, you know, it's good for insurance purposes. It's got the Dynajet carb, Dynajet kit in the carb, and the K&N filter, a little bit of headwork, CC'd, a little bit of opened up. Baisley high flow titanium nitrated stainless steel valves, they're extra large. The RevTech springs, the RevTech push rods, the Screaming Eagle ignition without the rev limiter, cell coil, heavy duty clutch, 23 3/2 sprocket in the front, so the 4-speed cruise is about the same as a 5-speed, and it's got plenty of freaking torque for pulling off. I don't know, it's got the turnout mufflers. I like turnouts. You know, and I keep this chain, but I also keep a cable in there. I keep some extra locks and shit with this thing because that's the one thing I don't like, leaving it anywhere. Yeah, future project coming up on the Suzuki, big $15 from Roadless Gear. They got the 7-slot grill that looks sort of like a Jeep or the old SJ410s. You take this grill out, you cut it out, and you epoxy in the other shit. And you got a 7-slot grill. And I said, well, that's cool. $15, $10 shipping. It's a future project coming up here pretty soon. And yeah, I was working on my freaking lawnmower. Got this thing. This thing is from 1996. Still runs good. Got it set up without the governor. I took the gas tank out, cleaned it out. And the carburetor, I got a new carburetor for it coming, but I really didn't need one. I just needed a diaphragm. But I also needed to, you know, these little lawnmower carbs, or any, like your motorcycle carb. You know, I'm not showing a lawnmower, but any carburetor. One of the best ways to clean that carburetor, because you don't want to use solvents, especially with a plastic carburetor, or even like any of the carburetors that have a lot of plastic parts. Get your ultrasonic cleaner and put some of that little bit of, you know, a couple ounces of awesome detergent, you know, that LA Awesome stuff. That stuff cleans like crazy. Put the thing on like 30 minutes, a couple 30-minute cycles with the heater on and the ultrasonic cleaner, and it cleans the crap out of the carb without taking it apart. Everything. You know, if you got some of that gummed up ethanol, that'll work for your Harley. It'll work for your chainsaw. That's I found out with the starter valves. A lot of times you don't need to change those. You could just clean them up with the ultrasonic cleaner without taking nothing apart. I didn't take this carb apart. I was able to start it up, put the new diaphragm in there and stuff, no problem. It's great for anything, like I'm showing a lawnmower, but it's great for the motorcycles, it's great for chainsaws, great for cars. The ultrasonic cleaner with the awesome dish detergent. Not dish detergent, it's awesome cleaner. I'll show you what the hell I'm talking about, man. For somebody not gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. It's not a detergent, it's well, it is, but it is just crap right here. Awesome. Get it in a dollar store. This costs like $2.98 for this big gallon. You just put a couple ounces in there in your ultrasonic cleaner. That'll very safely clean up the carburetor without hurting nothing. No plastic parts. Because if you use that, these are my little kids.
This Dixie. I thought they were gone, man. I was looking for them this morning. There's Dixie. It's a gray one. You see paws over there with the little white feet. There's Feather, the mama. And Onyx is around here too. She's kind of the rambunctious one. She's doing very well. She's doing very, very well. But I know a lot of little stupid MacGyver tricks on cars. I'm going to put these wires in here probably right now. You know, El Camino. Should freaking be doing that. But kind of love doing this shit, to tell you the truth. And that's one reason I kind of like the bike. You know, it's a hell of a lot. There's a hell of a lot less. You got more maintenance on the motorcycle. But, oh, here's Onyx. Crap, I almost stepped on you. You freaking yo-yo. Looks just like mommy. He or she looks just like mommy. Good cat. There's a lot more maintenance on a bike. But there's a hell of a lot less parts. You know? Actually, on the front of that bike, I put a grease fitting in the neck. Then I took the grease fitting out and I put a bolt there. So you can take the bolt out. I fill up the whole neck with grease, marine grade grease, and this way the bearings that are in the you know, what do you call those? The bearings in the neck where the fork turns. It's usually the lower one. It gets like indexed. You know, especially if you have the fork, you have it too tight. There's so much grease in here that it just flows down onto that lower bearing in the bike. That's a trick that I did. And also have the things on the top of the fork tubes where you can just unscrew an inner cap without taking the caps off and pushing the springs back down. Like, you gotta be Hercules to do that garbage. You can change your fork oil, and also with the fork oil, use some of that AT205 if you got a slight seal leak. AT205 reseal for transmissions and differentials. You put that in your fork oil. I'll seal them right back up. Keep your oil changed. Usually you don't have to change those seals, man. A lot of people say, hey, you don't do that shit. Bullshit. Bullshit. You know? And actually, another thing, on the, I actually have an extra one of them. It's on a shifter. There's like a little part, it looks like, I don't know, it's like a U-shaped thing with a couple, I don't know what that, I got it like in my toolbox. Typically with brakes, it's part of the shift mechanism on the Sportsters. I don't know if it's on the new ones or not, but it's really hard to shift from first to second or second to third after that part breaks. It's only like a $4 part, but then you got to take off the cover, you know, the primary cover, and change it and shit. It's a pain in the ass if you got to change that part. It's expensive. But I found if you put Duralube for transmissions, just a couple ounces, or even just an ounce, in with the oil, in with, you know, with the Sportster Trans Lube, whatever the hell you call that crap. You put some of that Duralube in there, so you go, hey, you know what? That thing shifts like butter. Anytime you're at a light, you can find neutral all the time. And since it shifts like butter, there's a lot less strain on that part that breaks, that $4 part. That's, I mean, it's not extremely hard to change, but it is. It's not going to freaking take you 10 minutes to change it, that's for sure. You know, I've never broke that part again. Yeah, it's kind of a common thing to break. Just running that Duralube on there in the transmission. It shifts like butter. There's no extra. It's, you know, it's like common sense mechanical shit. And I run I get a whole, what the hell is it? 5 gallons or some crap like that. I forgot what it is. It's big. I got a big pail of 50 weight oil. Yeah. Right under here. 50 weight. And I put a little bit of Marble Mystery Oil in it when I change the oil. 50 weight. Straight 50 weight. None of this 20-50 shit, unless you're running in the winter time. None of that stuff. And again, you see that bolt right there? Right there? And I say, what the fuck's that bolt? It's like you take that out, I put a grease fitting in there, and it's like this whole thing is filled up with grease. This whole thing. And it's not this bearing that fucks screws up and gets indexed. It's this one, the lower one. It's got the pressure on it. And if you got it, your stuff. That's original bearing in there. It's never indexed because the grease just flows down in there. The whole thing, I was filled up with grease. After a while, it was leaking out a little bit and stuff. But I put marine grade grease in there. Saves you a lot of crap, man, from doing things over and over again. And again, these are the top of my forks here. You just take this out, change your oil. And I don't have any fork leaks, but I put a tiny bit of AT205 in there. Well, you know, it makes it easier, right? I mean, still the oil's filled up, sealed up, nothing's indexed, everything's adjusted right. You know, nothing wears out. Well, shit doesn't wear out if you keep it greased and oiled instead. You know. Counts. Yeah, and I made this for this thing. I could buy another one, but I said hell with it. Had left over from my what do you call it? You know, the hose, lower heater hose. I put it was all chewed up here. Just some structural rivets in here. I'm gonna probably get a short block for the other mower. Change out all the parts on it. And be like a brand new mower. Maybe I'll do that too, I don't know. One thing at a time, but I like fixing stuff even though I'm an accountant. I don't know. I like doing shit like this. I like fixing stuff where it don't cost you no money, especially. As a matter of fact, on my Harley leather bag, I had a fire in it one time. And I don't know, there's a video out there someplace, you know, Harley fire or some crap. The key and carb, the plastic thing that comes out of it, that stock, where the fuel inlet goes in, they crack after a while. Well, it cracked and some fuel pulled up in the engine, and the engine backfired and the fuel caught fire. And it burned the bottom of one of the saddlebags. Instead of buying a new saddlebag, I got a piece of leather and I sewed in with the Speedy oil stitcher, plus used some of these structural rivets, big heavy piece of leather on the bottom, and I painted it black with truck bed lining. You don't even see it's on the bottom. So the bags, they're in there for freaking almost 30 years. They're still going to continue to work. You know, nothing's going to fall out at the bottom with that new patch in there. And I put in a new brass fitting in a key and carb, and I didn't use no special tools. I just used I made some kind of press thing out of some kind of bolt mechanism or some crap, and some kind of long bolt, and I just pressed it in myself. And it's like, you don't need a special tool to put that fitting in. So actually there's a lot of tools you don't need. As a matter of fact, on the this side, I don't know what do we call that thing, the primary cover, yeah, I use there's a special tool to open up those funny looking, whatever they call those things, where you adjust the clutch and shit and fill up the oil. I put this thing in there. It fits in here like where the two notches are. Then I put this like that, you know, through here. Just open this up here more, like that. And it's got the two prongs. Should be this way. You get the idea. I never bought the special tool, man. That's my special tool. Like that. So these things, those things fit in those little plugs that open up, one to adjust your clutch, the other one to fill up the oil. So I just put these things in here and I use this. That's how I open it up. I don't use a special tool. If I have a special tool, it'd be great, but then again, I'll find where the hell I put that special tool. I know where these things are. It doesn't bugger nothing up. I'm just remembering some stuff I used to do. I mean, I've had the transmission out of that I've had the engine out of the frame a couple times. I've had the transmission out several times. I've changed the clutch packs a bunch of times. Changed the stator a couple times. I don't know. I did just about every damn thing on that bike, except I can't split the case halves on those new ones because the bearings are within 2/10,000ths of an inch. Like if you got an old shovel head, they're not as super accurate as the Evos when they came out. I don't even know what the hell's out now. I mean, they got fuel injection or some garbage, man. You know, so I don't know. I like that bike because at first I didn't like it because there's no kickstart, electronic ignition. That's stupid, you know. And now, in retrospect, I'm like, oh god, this thing is way better than the shit they got today. It's too complicated today, way too complicated. I just like working on anything, you know, the El Camino, that little samurai thing out there, this lawnmower. I don't give a shit, anything. It's kind of fun.